Revit model line versus detail line. Key differences explained. 3D versus 2D. Hello and welcome to our new video. Today we're talking about the difference between model lines and detail lines. Let's get started. Model line is located under the Architecture tab in the Model panel. When we activate Model line, in the Properties panel we can see parameters related to the model line, such as the work plane it is hosted on, whether the line will move automatically with nearby elements, and the line style. Next, in the Modify panel, we can choose the placement plane. Currently it's set to level 1, but besides levels, we can also select a reference plane or a surface of an element, such as a wall, floor, or roof. We can see that the chain option is enabled. The chain option allows us to draw multiple connected lines without interrupting the command. We also have offset and radius. Under line style, we can select any of the available line types. For now, we'll keep the default one. We choose rectangle and draw it like this. When we click on one of the rectangle lines, we can see its properties. We see the line style, which is also displayed here at the top. We also see that detail line is not checked, which means this is a model line. Another important thing to note is that a model line is part of the model, so it can have phases. Now we'll open a 3D view. We can see that the model line is visible in the 3D view. It is also visible in elevation. At the moment we don't see it because it is aligned with the level, but once we hide certain elements, we can clearly see the model line. So, model lines are visible in 3D views. Now let's draw a detail line. Go to the Annotate tab and select Detail Line. In the Properties panel, we again see line style, but now it is clearly indicated that this is a detail line. We also have chain, offset, and radius again. Under line style, we have the same line types as before. Thin lines is currently enabled, but we'll switch back to standard lines. Again, we draw a rectangle. Visually, they look the same. Now, let's open the 3D view. We can see that the rectangle we just created is not visible. We select the rectangle created with detail lines and go back to the 3D view. We can see that it exists, but it is not displayed in the 3D view. So, the main difference between model lines and detail lines is that a model line is part of the model and exists in 3D space, while a detail line is only a 2D annotation tied to a specific view. Now let's draw a wall. Like this. We'll open the south elevation. Now let's select model line. A window appears where we must choose a work plane. A model line must always be associated with a work plane. We'll keep Pick a Plane selected, click OK, and then choose the work plane, in this case, the face of the wall. Once the work plane is selected, we can draw. Again, we choose rectangle and draw it like this. When we open the 3D view, we can see the rectangle we just created. Now we go back to the south elevation and draw a detail line. Like this. We can see that for a detail line, we did not need to define a work plane. Again, we can see that detail lines are not visible in the 3D view. Let's go back to the floor plan, level 1. We'll select the rectangle we created using detail lines. In the Properties panel, we can confirm that these are detail lines, and now we click on Convert Lines. We get a notification that Revit has converted 4 lines. Now, let's go to the 3D view. We can see that the rectangle is now visible because these are now model lines. Next, we go to the south elevation and select these 2 detail lines. In Properties, we can confirm they are detail lines, and again we use Convert Lines. We return to the 3D view and now we can see those lines as well. Now let's do the same in reverse with model lines. We open the south elevation, select these 2 lines. We know they are model lines because the detail line checkbox is not selected in Properties, and again choose Convert Lines. We get a notification that Revit has converted 2 lines. In the 3D view, we can see that these 2 lines are no longer visible. It's also important to mention that line styles are located under the Manage tab, then Additional Settings, and then Line Styles. When we open Line Styles, we can see all the line types currently in the project. System line styles cannot be deleted, while the ones we create ourselves can be removed. This is the line we used earlier. We can modify it. It is currently green. Let's change it to red. And set the line weight to 3. Click Apply, then OK. We can see that the color has changed. At the moment, we don't see the thickness because Thin Lines is enabled, so let's turn that off. Now the line weight is visible. In addition to modifying existing lines, we can also create new ones. We go again to Additional Settings, then Line Styles. Click New and name it New Line. The subcategory is Lines. Click OK. Now we choose a color. Let's pick blue. For line weight, we set it to 4, and for line pattern, we select -2.5 mm. Click OK. We select this rectangle and change its line style to New Line. Let's do the same for the second rectangle. In the 3D view, the change is also visible because these are model lines. Here they are still set to lines, so we'll change them to New Line as well. Now, one more difference between model lines and detail lines. Since both rectangles are currently model lines, when we select them, we can see in Properties that they are not detail lines. Let's first convert this rectangle into a detail line. Now we can see that this rectangle is a detail line. Let's now try the Measure along an element option. With detail lines, we cannot use this option, while with model lines we can. This happens because model lines have real geometry in the model, while detail lines do not. Model lines are commonly used when we want to add actual geometry to the model, while detail lines are used for documentation and drafting details within a specific view. And that's it for today's video. Understanding the difference between model lines and detail lines is important because it directly affects how elements behave in both the model and documentation, which can save you a lot of time and help you avoid mistakes in your workflow. We hope this tutorial helps you improve your Revit workflow. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tutorials.